Welcome to Ask the Lawyer radio podcast with attorney Brian Figueroa of the law firm Figueroa and Associates. This podcast features a recording of our most recent radio show. We hope you enjoy the show, which features news, views, and interviews on matters such as immigration, personal injury, bankruptcy, divorce, family law, estate planning, wills and probate, deed transfers, civil rights, criminal defense, workers' compensation, and taxes, both individual and business. You can contact us at 855-768-8845 or visit us at www.askthelawyer.us. You have questions? We've got the answers.
Protecting domestic workers in New York State. An analysis. Domestic workers, including nannies, housekeepers, and caregivers, play a crucial role in the functioning of many households. Most immigrants, that is, women from the Caribbean, Africa, Latin America, and even Eastern Europe who have these jobs are for the most part treated humanely and professionally. They help their bosses with their parents, their children, and other family members who they treat with love and respect, and many times the caregivers become surrogate family members. But unfortunately, despite their essential contributions, these workers are often vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. New York State has implemented several measures to protect domestic workers from wage theft, discrimination, physical and mental abuse, and immigration blackmail, whether they live in their employer's home or not. This analysis examines the legislative framework, enforcement mechanisms, and support services available to domestic workers in New York State. Legislative framework, the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. In 2010, New York State enacted the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, the first of its kind in the United States. This landmark legislation provides comprehensive protections for domestic workers, including minimum wage and overtime. Domestic workers are entitled to the state minimum wage and overtime pay at 1.5 times their regular rate for hours worked over 40 in a week. Days of rest. Workers must receive 1 day of rest per week or be paid overtime if they agree to work on their day off. Paid leave. After 1 year of employment, domestic workers are entitled to 3 days of paid leave annually. Protection from discrimination and harassment. The law prohibits harassment and discrimination based on race, gender, national origin, religion, sexual orientation, or other protected characteristics. Labor law protections. New York's labor laws extend additional protections to domestic workers, including payment of wages. Employers must pay workers on a regular payday and provide a statement detailing the hours worked and wages paid. Notice of pay rate. Workers must receive written notice of their pay rate, including overtime rates and any deductions. Record keeping. Employers are required to keep detailed records of hours worked and wages paid for 6 years. Enforcement mechanisms. New York State Department of Labor. The DOL plays a central role in enforcing labor laws and the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. Workers can file complaints with the DOL, which investigates allegations of wage theft, overtime violations, and other labor law breaches. The DOL has the authority to impose penalties on employers who violate these laws and to recover unpaid wages for workers. Legal assistance and advocacy organizations. Several organizations provide legal assistance and advocate for domestic workers' rights, including Domestic Workers United, a prominent organization that advocates for the rights and dignity of domestic workers through policy advocacy, education, and support services. National Domestic Workers Alliance offers legal support, resources, and advocacy to improve working conditions for domestic workers nationwide, with a significant presence in New York. The law firm of Figueroa and Associates provides legal services to low-income workers, including assistance with wage theft claims and discrimination cases. The Human Rights Law. New York's human rights law extends anti-discrimination protections to domestic workers. The New York State Division of Human Rights, DHR, investigates complaints of discrimination and harassment, offering another avenue for workers to seek redress. The DAR can order employers to pay damages and implement corrective actions. Protection from physical and mental abuse, criminal laws, and law enforcement. Domestic workers are protected under New York's criminal laws against physical and mental abuse. Employers who physically harm or mentally abuse workers can face criminal charges, including assault, harassment, and endangerment. Workers can report abuse to local law enforcement, which can lead to criminal investigations and prosecutions. Safe harbor and support services. New York offers support services to domestic workers who experience abuse, including Safe Horizon, provides emergency shelter and counseling to victims of domestic violence and abuse. Sanctuary for Families offers comprehensive services, including counseling and safe housing for victims of domestic violence and trafficking. Immigration blackmail and protections. U&T visas. Domestic workers who are undocumented are particularly vulnerable to exploitation and immigration-related threats. New York supports the federal U&T visa programs, which provide temporary legal status to victims of certain crimes, including trafficking, who cooperate with law enforcement. Sanctuary policies. New York has implemented sanctuary policies that limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. These policies aim to protect undocumented workers from deportation threats used as blackmail by abusive employers. Legal services and advocacy. The law firm of Figaro & Associates, which has over 25 years of experience practicing immigration law, offers legal services and representation to undocumented workers facing immigration-related exploitation. The firm helps workers apply for U&T visas and provides legal representation in immigration and labor disputes. Live-in versus non-live-in workers. Live-in domestic workers often face unique challenges, including work hour exploitation. Because they reside in their employer's home, live-in workers can be subjected to excessive work hours without proper compensation. The Domestic Workers Bill of Rights mandates overtime pay for live-in workers and requires that they receive adequate rest and privacy. Privacy and personal space. Employers must provide live-in workers with a private, lockable room and reasonable access to cooking facilities and bathrooms. On-call time. The DOL regulations stipulate that live-in workers must be compensated for on-call time if they are not free to leave the premises or engage in personal activities. Non-live-in workers, while not facing the same level of control over their personal space, still face significant challenges. Commuting issues. Non-live-in workers often incur significant travel expenses and time, which can affect their overall compensation and quality of life. Work hour tracking. Ensuring accurate tracking and compensation for hours worked is crucial. Employers must maintain precise records and adhere to pay schedules. New York State has established a robust framework to protect domestic workers from wage theft, discrimination, physical and mental abuse, and immigration blackmail. Through the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, stringent labor laws, and comprehensive support services, the state strives to safeguard the rights and well-being of these essential workers. While significant progress has been made, ongoing efforts by government agencies, advocacy organizations, and the community are necessary to ensure that all domestic workers receive the respect, dignity, and protection they deserve.
Do you have a legal issue, question, or concern? Turn to Ask the Lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us. You can also register for our paralegal program, get legal news, business consults, or other information on educational issues. Yes, ask the lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us.